Welcome, students. Let's talk about a very important chapter of history, class 10, nationalism in India. In this chapter, we have to study about the development of Indian national movement during the period from 1918 to 1932. And what was national movement? We all know that it was a movement started by the Indian masses against the colonial rule for the independence of their country. And during our period of study, Mahatma Gandhi was leading the Indian national movement, and during this period, he had started two major movements which played a very important role in the independence of our country eventually. These two movements were the non-cooperation movement and civil disobedience movement. So here, the first topic is that what are the factors that led to the emergence of nationalism in India? Nationalism, what were the factors that developed a sense of patriotism and nationalism among the people of India during that period? That factors were British imperialism, influence of the Western civilization. English language played a very important role in unifying the people of India. Development of the means of transport and communication has also greatly politically unified the people of India. Then scholars and social religious reformers played a very important role in creating a sense of pride towards the nation among the people. Then economic exploitation of our country by the Britishers has also created a lot of resentment among the people, and which finally they expressed their resentment by participating in the national movement in order to overthrow the British rule from the country. Racial bitterness and repressive policies by the British government and the development of Indian press and literature also had an important role in the Indian national movement. So these are the contents which we shall deal with, that is the First World War, Khilafat and non-cooperation movement, differing strands within the movement, civil disobedience movement and the sense of collective belongingness. So what is nationalism? I just told you that it's a loyalty and devotion to a nation. In this chapter, we will pick up the story from the 1920s and the study of the non-cooperation movement and civil disobedience movement. We will also learn how different social groups participated in the movement. Let's talk about the First World War, Khilafat and non-cooperation movement. First World War broke out in 1914, which lasted till 1918. It was fought between the two groups of countries, Allied power and Central power. It affected the whole world. That's why it is called as the First World War. India at that time was under British rule, and when the First World War was started, the British government increased the defense expenditure, increased the taxes, income tax was introduced, custom duties were increased, crop failed in many parts of the country at that time during that period, which led to the shortage of food. That means that there was a period of overall crisis in our country. Gandhiji came back to India in 1915 and he introduced a new powerful method of struggle called Satyagraha. He told the people to follow the method of Satyagraha and non-violence against the Britishers. Satyagraha literally means holding on to truth or truth force. It was a non-violent struggle introduced by Gandhiji in the national movement. It persuades the opponent to understand the truth. Okay, hunger strike, peaceful demonstration, strikes, non-cooperation with the government are some of the method of Satyagraha. So when Gandhiji came back to India in 1915, he started the three local movement, and both these two movements were successful. That is Champaran movement, Kheda movement and Mill Workers movement of Ahmedabad. And I have discussed all these three movements comprehensively in one of my presentation. Then in 1919, just after the First World War, the British government passed an act that was known as the Revolutionary and Anarchical Crimes Act, popularly known as Rowlatt Act. It was known as Rowlatt Act because it was formulated by an English judge whose name was Sir Sidney Rowlatt. And Gandhiji called this act as a Black Act, and he called upon the people of India to raise their voice till the British government withdraw this act. Why the people of India were opposing this act? Because this act gave the government the power to imprison any person without any trial for a period of 2 years. The aim of this act was to destroy the national movement by imprisoning the national workers. So that's why it was called a black law, because it was against basic human rights. And this Rowlatt Act also put censorship on the Indian press. That means Indian press will not publish anything, will not write anything against the activity of the British government. So Gandhiji against Rowlatt Act started Rowlatt Satyagraha, a non-violent satyagraha. A hartal was organized all over India on 6th April 1919. Rallies were conducted, shops were closed down, workers conducted strike, transport and communication system came to a standstill. And this protest led to the Jallianwala Bagh massacre in Amritsar, where on 13th April 1919 a public meeting was organized at Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar to protest against the arrest of national leaders and their own local leaders, Dr. Saifuddin Kichliu and Dr. Satyapal. And many villagers came to attend a fair, were also present in the park. At that time Baisakhi festival was going on. General Dyer reached the meeting place along with the British troops, and he ordered the troops to fire. The firing lasted for nearly 10 minutes and more than 1,000 people were killed and many more wounded. This incident is called as Jallianwala Bagh massacre. See the pics related to Jallianwala Bagh bloodbath. Then after Jallianwala Bagh massacre, Gandhiji decided to start a non-cooperation movement, but just before the non-cooperation movement, one more movement was started by the educated Muslims of India that came to be known as the Khilafat movement. It was a movement organized by Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali, and the aim of this movement was to protest against the injustice done to Turkey by Britain after the First World War. Why the Indian Muslims were so much attached to Turkey? Because in Turkey, the head of the Turkey was Caliph, and the Caliph was supposed to be the religious and spiritual head of all the Muslims of the world. And after the First World War, Turkey was defeated, and the Britishers signed a Treaty of Sevres with Turkey, and accordingly the power and prestige of Caliph were very much reduced. Okay, so the power of Caliph was very much reduced, and this was not liked by the people of India, and that's why they started the Khilafat movement in order to put pressure upon the government of England to restore the power and position of Caliph. However, it was not done by the Britishers, not done by England, and that's why the Ali brothers along with the other leaders, they started Khilafat movement. Non-cooperation movement was launched by Gandhiji at the same time, and both these two movements were merged by Gandhiji in order to seek the participation of more and more Muslims to the Indian national movement. So non-cooperation movement was launched in 1920. It aimed at protesting against the injustice done to Punjab. Educated Muslim middle class led the movement in towns and cities. Peasants organized movement against talukdars and landlords in villages under the leadership of Baba Ramchandra in Awadh in Uttar Pradesh. The peasant movement was going on, which was incorporated into the non-cooperation movement. At the same time, tribal people started the Gudem rebellion in Andhra Pradesh under the leadership of their great leader Alluri Sitaram Raju. Plantation workers of Assam also started the struggle at the same time. That means that the whole country was galvanized during the non-cooperation movement, and at many places we find the people started the local movement against the authority, against the government, because they thought that with the non-cooperation movement the British rule will come to an end and all their problems would be sorted out after the withdrawal of the Britishers from the country. But suddenly on 5 February 1920, one violent incident took place at Chauri Chaura, which forced Gandhiji to call off the movement. Now, if you talk about the participation of the people within the non-cooperation movement, you will see that educated middle class led the movement in towns and cities. Educational institutions, law courts, council elections were boycotted during the movement. Foreign clothes and other goods were burnt in bonfires. People began to use khadi. Government servants resigned their jobs. Liquor shops were picketed. But we find that just after a few months, we find the slowdown of the movement in town, because khadi was very expensive. It was beyond the capacity of the lower middle class and poor class to put on khadi. There was a lack of Indian institutions. Educational institution was not much there to enroll the students who left the English educational institutions. So these were some of the factors which slowed down the movement in towns. Then at the same time, during the non-cooperation movement in Awadh, peasant movement was started by Baba Ramchandra. It was against the landlords and talukdars. The objective was the reduction of rent and the abolition of begar were the main demands, and they formed the Awadh Kisan Sabha. This movement was later on merged with the non-cooperation movement. So I told you that on account of the violent incident in February 1922 in Chauri Chaura, Gorakhpur, Uttar Pradesh, people turned violent and set fire to a police station. 22 policemen were killed, and finally Gandhiji decided to withdraw the movement. Gandhiji commented that I think that it was necessary to train the people in non-violent satyagraha to get Swaraj. That means what Gandhiji wants to say, that people are still not properly trained how to follow the method of non-violence and satyagraha during the movement. Then after the non-cooperation movement, we find the Simon Commission arrived in India in 1927, which was highly opposed by the people of India because it was out and out a white commission. There was not a single Indian member in it, and the work of Simon Commission was to make a report on the functioning, on the working of the Government of India Act 1919. So it was highly objected, it was highly opposed, protested by the people of India. Then just after few years, Gandhiji launched another massive movement, that is the civil disobedience movement. Actually it was started in 1930, and just before 1 year in 1929, Great Depression started in America, and this Great Depression has affected the economy of many countries of the world, and our Indian economy also remain affected from it, which made the life of the people highly miserable. In 1929, just before 1 year, 1929, in the Lahore session of the Congress, it was decided to put forward the demand for complete independence before the British government. So Gandhiji launched the movement by breaking the salt law at Dandi. He broke the salt law. What was salt law? That the British government had increased the tax on salt, which led to the increase in the price of salt, and the Indians were prohibited from manufacturing salt. That means they had to buy salt only from the government owned shops. So Gandhiji and 78 of his followers started a march from Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi. On 6th April, they reached Dandi. Gandhiji prepared salt by using sea water and thus broke the salt law. The government imposed heavy tax on salt at that time, and thus Gandhiji called upon the people, exhorted the people of India to started manufacturing salt of their own and break the salt law. But the limitation of civil disobedience movement was that many sections they did not participate in the movement. That's it, Dalit did not participate, many Muslims did not participate in the movement, because after the non-cooperation movement, communal riots occurred in many places. Unity between the Hindu and Muslim started. Industrial workers' participation was very minimum because Congress was more leaning towards the industrialist classes as well as the landlords. Now, the sense of collective belongingness. What was the sense of collective belongingness? Means the feeling among the people that we belong to a one common nation, and until and unless this feeling developed, so we could not expect the rise of the feeling of nationalism in the heart and minds of the people. So the feeling of collective belongingness is very essential for creating unity and integrity in a nation. And some of the factors that developed the sense of collective belongingness was that the image of Bharat Mata was created. Avindranath Tagore painted this image of Bharat Mata, which symbolizes the whole country, and the people started revering Bharat Mata. That means कि they are revering their own motherland. They started considering their country as a motherland which was under the clutches of British domination. Then Bande Mataram song was prepared, which also played a very important role in uniting the people, in creating a sense of collective belongingness. National flag was developed, which had 8 lotuses representing the 8 provinces of the British India. It also had crescent moon, which represented Hindu and Muslim, and this flag became a symbol of the nation and created a feeling of oneness. The people carried flags in protest marches and rallies. So the development of the adoption of national flag, the composition of national songs and hymns, the creation of the image of Bharat Mata, these were some of the symbols that played a very important role in creating a feeling of oneness among the people of India. And finally, this culminated into the national movement, into the Indian national movement. Okay, thank you.